let me ask you, how do I start? I mean, you said it's going to take time to plan. You said it really begins with sort of coming up with this content strategy.
Yeah.
So, I'm your client. Walk me through it. I mean, where would I begin? What would be some of the easy, low hanging fruit things I can start to do?
The first thing you want to do is set objectives,
Okay.
know who you want to speak to, what you're trying to achieve with this, know what you want to talk about. You don't want to sort of get too far down the road and go, you know what, I really don't have that much to say. I don't really have that much value to add in terms of the content I want to produce. Because
Mhm.
if that's the case, you can aggregate content from other news sources, right? You don't have to always create your own content. You could go to the Globe and Mail, you can go to the Economist, and just share information from there if it reflects what you're trying to tell your clients. So you don't necessarily even have to produce net new content all the time. You can share other people's content. You can share it and put your own comment on it to say, I agree with this or I completely disagree with this. But if you are going to create your own content, the best thing to start with is an editorial calendar, because you really don't want to walk in every Wednesday morning having a panic attack that you have to write 300 to 500 words on something, on an idea you're not even convinced is good, at that time. So when you put together an editorial calendar, you can create a mix of evergreen type content that is, general knowledge stuff, or timely knowledge, what the Fed is going, what the Fed just did.
Mhm.
And if you have a calendar of central bank announcements on interest rates, that type of thing, but you just create week 1, week 2, week 3, here's what I'm posting, all of these steps will help you produce more content more efficiently, without the writer's block that can happen when you don't know what you're going to write, or you're just left with no ideas. You can, even for longer articles, you could create series so that you get people to follow along. This is part 2 of this series, this is part 3 of this series, and oftentimes they'll check back, put hyperlinks back to the original articles or other articles in the series. And most important thing, always have a call to action. Every time, let them drive them back to your website, tell them where they can reach you, tell them, what else you can help them with. That way they know what the next steps are, as opposed to them going, okay, great article, click, I'm closing it up.
Speaking of call to actions, like after you watch this video or listen to the podcast and you buy the book, get a piece of paper and start jotting down ideas. Like if you're, no matter what industry you're in or your area of expertise, just start going and writing all your ideas down. Choose the top 3, expand on those a little bit. These are really practical writing tools, and really it comes down to that as well, is that people, if you can't see people face to face, you're probably going to have to write more. So just getting more comfortable writing, it's a super skill. It's a superpower, being able to get an idea on paper at a relatively good speed, edit it, and then get it out in public. Start easy, to Richard's point. You want to start working your way up to the more complicated tasks. And one way to do that is just to, write down some ideas.
And let your team help out too. You have a lot of people who, there are a lot of people who have a lot to say, have great ideas, may want to try to gain a better exposure out there. So you go to them, you say, would you want to write about this? Always review their stuff. You want to make sure that everybody's viewpoints are sort of semi-aligned with your branch, or your office, but definitely leverage other people, because they want to write, they like writing, and it'll help lighten the load for you.
You guys, I just threw a ton at us. So let me just break that down for all of us, right? So first, I love what you said. Rich, I think the first thing you said was just like, using your calendar and planning. I think that is one of the secret sauces to success, is starting with, all right, schedule. In fact, there's a lot of people that talk about this, which is, if you want to see successful people, look at their calendar, right? It will define things. And I've been there, where rolling in on the Wednesday and going, ah, shit, I gotta record this, or I gotta do this, and it's a pressure. And, like anything else, you wouldn't just roll into a meeting and just be like, oh, well, let me try to deal with it right now. You would prepare for that meeting, you would plan for it. Love the fact that, Andrew, you were just talking about the fact that, brainstorming is the start to all of this, right? It's the generation of idea. And the fact that writing is a super important skill. Jordan Peterson, just spoke about this, which said, like, if you want to teach someone to be successful, teach them to write, because it'll teach them how to critically think. It'll teach them how to sort of examine things. And it was just a recent post that he put out. And you're right, we're going to have to, you know, get better, or we're going to have to skill up when it comes down to our written word, right? The written word could, you know, constructed in the right way, and both of you guys could appreciate this because you're both expert writers, right? Is one of the most powerful skills.